All right, so here's the deal, guys. Today we're going to be reviewing a movie, and I just, I was searching through the depths of Netflix as I do, and I found this thing called Two Guns. And here's the thing that I gotta say. First of all, this is what we're fucking watching, and I'll tell you why right now. So the movie stars Denzel Washington and Mark Wahlberg. Now, the last Mark Wahlberg movie I saw was a movie called The Union that came out in 2024. And the only reason I watched it is because, like, a half hour before I started watching it, I smoked a big one and took that backseat ride to heaven on my porch. AKA, I fucking tossed two bowls down and was absolutely fucking plastered out of my goddamn gourd. So I sat down and watched The Union by Mark Wahlberg, and it was one of the top five worst movies I've seen in my entire 21 years that I've been on this planet. And then on the other hand, you have Denzel Washington, who's my favorite actor in the entire fucking continental unit that is the fucking global sphere of planet Earth. So we have two polar opposite ends of the spectrum here. We got shit-ass Mark Wahlberg. We got Master Chief right here. And then we got Denzel Washington. So that's why we're watching this movie, because I have a feeling it's going to be fucking glory meets dog shit. And I think it's going to be a very bad outcome. So I think this movie's going to be bad. But I think Denzel Washington's acting is going to save it for me. So let's get into this shit now. So when I go out there and I say that I like Denzel Washington, this is kind of one of the reasons why. Now, number one reason I like Denzel Washington is because he's a pinnacle of acting. He's great. He knows how to fucking, work the lens and make people want to watch him. He's got something about him, you know what I mean? That's why I like Denzel. But the other thing I like about Denzel is that, like, he'll just, like, show up in a movie fucking looking like this and just stunting on him, bro. And he looks badass. Like, if I wore this shit, I'd look like a clown. I'd look like a fucking clown if I wore this, but he just pulls this shit off. I don't know. And then, they just showed a clip of Mark Wahlberg like 5 seconds back. And, he's fucking swole. Mark Wahlberg's big with that. Like, he gets down in the gymnasium just like me. He's a fellow concrete thrower. So he's looking big in this movie. He's bulked up, as you can tell. So I can respect that. And he's got a Carhartt beanie in the back pocket of his Wrangler jeans. So typical Mark Wahlberg character right there. Just white, basically mayonnaise incarnated in a movie is Mark Wahlberg. So that's what's going on right now. We are 1 minute, 41 seconds into the film. And guys, I know I keep harping on this, but like literally what's happening in this film right now is Denzel's talking about pumpernickel bread and how he doesn't like rye bread and he prefers pumpernickel bread. And I'm absolutely honed in on what he's talking about. You know what I mean? That's just the kind of acting he does. That's all I had to say here. Denzel Washington and Boston, Massachusetts Wahlberg they were in like a coffee house and they burned the place down. Now, I don't know why they did it. They're on some sort of maniacal business, some shady two-sided business that I don't know about yet, but they actually just did a backwards time jump. We are 1 week earlier now. At 5 minutes, 51 seconds into the movie, we did a little bit of a backwards time jump. So I think the details are about to get unfurled for us as time goes on in this movie. So I guess Mark Wahlberg and Denzel are at this like Mexican cartel, and Denzel was doing some sort of passport for a cocaine deal with the mob boss or whatever, and it didn't end up working out, but they're still kind of cool. And then it cuts to Mark Wahlberg, and Mark Wahlberg's like talking shit to the cartel, and they're like laughing with him, and they just met Mark Wahlberg. Realistically, if Mark Wahlberg was actually shit talking a real cartel, he would have been tied up, got his head cut off, and then got it cut into 56 different pieces. But he's just shit talking the cartel, and they're okay with it. I mean, have a little bit of fucking what's the word? Have a little bit of life and movie, mesh them a little bit so it's not just fucking fairyland that we're living in. Bro, Denzel's back on his bullshit. They just got like popped at the Mexican border. I don't know, like they're doing some shady shit. It hasn't been revealed yet, so I don't really know. Like, I can't tell you what's happening, but they just got caught up at the Mexican border and now they're in interrogation rooms, and Denzel's already on his bullshit in this movie. The cops trying to interrogate him and like saying shit like, you were in Sonora, what are you doing here? And he just keeps going, lawyer, lawyer, lawyer. Like, bro. Like, he keeps asking him questions. He's like, so what were you doing in Mexico? He goes, lawyer. He's like, were you in Sonoma, Mexico? He's like, lawyer. I want my lawyer. Just, that's some shit Denzel does, and it's fucking hilarious. I love that shit. Fuck, I'm an amateur reviewer, guys. You caught me. So it turns out that they're getting interrogated, but Denzel's already in the fucking police force, so it was kind of a fake interrogation, and they're trying to buy cocaine. I don't know why the police are trying to acquire cocaine at this time. I'm sure good old Denny right here is going to give us all the fucking quirks and features of this movie, and we're going to find out why he's buying cocaine and he's also law enforcement. But I forgot to read the fucking description of the movie, so we're going to do right now. Two special agents, one naval intelligence, one DEA, partner for an undercover sting against drug cartel that takes a wrong turn. So what we just figured out from that is he's trying to get the cocaine to undermine this cartel business. So now it's all making sense. So the reason that Mark Wahlberg and Denzel were at the cartel and Mark Wahlberg was bullying all the cartel members, even though he would have got ripped to shreds if he did that in real life, is because they're actually looking to bust this cartel. So boom, let's see what happens. So Mark Wahlberg and Denzel are actually partners in this movie, partners in law enforcement, but it turns out that Denzel is plotting on getting Mark Wahlberg caught up in a bank robbery. They're going to like rob a bank or something in order to corrupt the cartel. And he just claimed, Denzel just said that he doesn't care if Mark Wahlberg gets 20 years in prison. It doesn't bother him at all. Even though they're boys, apparently. Shit, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen here. I mean, it even stuns me sometimes at how much of a goddamn idiot I am. This guy's undercover. Denzel's undercover, and Mark Wahlberg thinks that they're going to rob a bank together, that they're both criminals, but it turns out that Denzel's a cop and he's a criminal. I thought they were both cops. So, I don't know. Like, my movie comprehension is awful, man. So it turns out they're going to rob this bank. Denzel's a cop. He's a robber. And, yeah. Coach's son, lunch pail attitude, Kaha hat, straight out of Boston, Massachusetts. How we doing? Bro, Mark Wahlberg, a.k.a. Boston, Massachusetts Wahlberg, is actually an undercover agent as well. And they're going to rob this bank, and they're both going to pop each other. I guess that's what's going to happen. I should have fucking took notice to the description of the movie, which explained that they're both undercover agents for different sides. But for some reason, I read it out loud and then still remained ignorant to the fact that that's what the movie's going to be about. And I thought Mark Wahlberg was a criminal and Denzel Washington was a cop. But it turns out they're like both cops or whatever the fuck. Man, this movie's getting serious, and I'm not entertained yet. I'm going to be honest. We are 22 minutes, 38 seconds in, and I'm still not entertained. So I picked this movie because it was short, so we'll see if it picks up. Motherfucking Denzel is doing the most nonchalant bank robbery of all time. He's using his indoor voice. You know, he's not yelling. He's being polite, and he's getting the money. So I got to respect the hustle. I know something crazy with this movie is when I was watching this scene, they just got all the money, and for a second, I thought they broke into the money room in my basement and stole 10% of the funds that I had. The vault inside of this bank looked just like the money room in my basement where I keep my trillions of dollars. Like when they were in here about to blow the shit up, this shit looks just like the money room in my basement where I keep my trillions of dollars. I thought they were robbing my fucking basement, but it's just a movie. I had to remember. It's actually insane. I never could have imagined that a movie could replicate my money room. This is insane. Shit's going down. So they just robbed my money room in my basement, and now they have way more money than they could have accounted for. And it's getting sketchy. And then Denzel's about to pull out his badge and show Mark Wahlberg that he's a cop. And then Mark Wahlberg shoots Denzel in the arm and then sees that Denzel has a badge, and now they're beefing. It's getting real. We're 29 minutes in. Movie's picking up a little bit. Still not really that entertained, but I'm going to give it a little bit more time. All right, so we're at the half-hour mark, and we are just getting introduced to what I'm assuming is the main antagonist here. This guy seems pretty badass. He just shoved a bunch of thumbtacks into some guy's hand because he thought he was the bank robber, but he wasn't. And he seems to have an ominous nature about him, and the music's picking up, so I'm guessing this is the main antagonist right here. Now, they waited a half hour to introduce this guy. I don't know why. The movie's only fucking an hour 40 minutes, so they just wasted half the movie without this guy. So hopefully it picks up. The main objective was Mark Wahlberg had to steal the money from the bank, kill Denzel, and then the army would collect the money. And it turns out Mark Wahlberg only shot this guy in the arm and left him. And Denzel, you know, it takes more than one shot to kill Denzel Washington in a film, in a movie, in a motion picture. He's not going to die if you just shoot him in the arm. You got to shoot him at least 27 times in the head or heart. So he's still alive, and I think drama is afoot. So Denzel has a bullet hanging in his fucking bicep, and he just managed to rob a dune buggy off these two white countrymen. And he stole their dune buggy and left them to die in the desert. So that's why we watch Denzel Washington movies right there. All right, now Mark Wahlberg's military friends just turned on him because he didn't kill Denzel Washington and started to shoot at him and try to kill him. And then Mark Wahlberg just hijacked their car and drove away. So now we have Denzel hijacking a dune buggy and Mark Wahlberg hijacking a truck, and they're both escaping in the same exact manner. It's like two sides of the same coin. It's crazy. They both did the same exact fucking thing. So if I made a prediction here, I'm going to say that Denzel and Mark Wahlberg reunite, do some crazy shit, and Two Guns, they're like two sides of the same coin. That's my fucking theory. Just wanted to ask you guys a question here. Now, in this particular scene, Denzel Washington's outside the police station now. The police screwed him. So he wanted the police to come so that after they robbed the bank so that they could get Mark Wahlberg caught up and he can get arrested, but the police didn't actually end up coming. So now Denzel's wanted by the police, and he's outside the police station, and a cop car went by, and Denzel turned his head away so that the cop wouldn't see him. And I just wanted to pose a question of how many times do you think in a movie Denzel Washington has turned his head away from cops while he was in a car? I feel like every single Denzel movie I watch, there's a clip where he's sitting in a car and a cop drives by and he turns his head away so the cop can't identify him. There might be 15 movies where Denzel has done that. I just wanted to point that out. That's like his signature thing, and I respect it. Yo, when Denzel makes this face, you know shit's going down in the movie. When he's got his jaw gnarled like that, and you know he's about to fucking kick some ass and take some names, the movie's about to get good, but it is getting pretty late, and I'm going to go smoke another big one and take that backseat ride to heaven on my porch again. So we're going to reaccumulate and do this review tomorrow and finish it then. All right, I'm not going to lie to you guys. It's been like a week since that first half of the review you guys saw. I kept saying every night, oh, I'm going to keep watching Two Guns. I'm going to keep watching Two Guns. And then, I just never had the motivation. And even right now, I barely have the motivation to finish this movie because there's an hour, 9 minutes, 25 seconds left. And, it's been a slow burner so far, but as you can see, I'm wearing a blanket. I'm snuggled in. I got a pillow behind my head, resting. But don't let the fact that I'm wearing a blankie distract you from the fact that I got a size 13 foot. My clavicles span 3 miles. I got hair on my chest that's so thick that there's unidentified species that reside on my chest. And, I'm 7'10" tall. So we're going to get into this review. It may be a 3-parter. I may pick this up in another week and finish the movie if I see fit, okay? But right now we're going to get into it. So our main antagonist is back. This is the first scene that we've actually seen with the guy. So he's pretty intimidating. He's putting a gun to this guy's head. Who this guy is right here is he is a veterinarian caregiver. And Denzel got shot in the arm by Mark Wahlberg, as we know. And Denzel didn't want to go to a hospital because he can get caught up by the police there. So he went to this vet. And this vet stitched him up. And now this main antagonist right here. So this guy's hunting Denzel Washington, our main antagonist, who got introduced into the film 30 minutes in, which is way too late to introduce a main antagonist. I'm pretty pissed about that. Yeah, this is a pretty intimidating scene. We're really getting to see his sheer intimidation tactics at hand. So he's putting a gun to this guy's head, and he's pretty scary. So let's keep the movie rolling. So Denzel's trying to hunt down Mark Wahlberg. He's looking for him. They had this little home base that they had when they were planning on robbing this bank, back when they didn't know all this shit about each other. Now they're beefing, but Denzel went back to the warehouse where they made the plan to rob the bank, looking for Mark Wahlberg, but Mark Wahlberg has the upper hand because Mark Wahlberg's on the rooftop next to the warehouse with a military-grade sniper rifle pointing right at Denzel's cranium, as we can see right here with the laser sight. So it's getting a little bit intense. I think they're gonna make up 100%. They're gonna become boys. I could tell. So things went sour at the warehouse because Mark Wahlberg used to be on the military, and then after the bank robbery, things went awry, and the military is now going after Mark Wahlberg. So the military showed up at the warehouse. Denzel was in the warehouse. Mark Wahlberg was on the roof. Denzel aborts the warehouse, and now the main antagonist and Denzel finally come face to face. Denzel walks through the front door of this house, puts some guy's nose directly into his brain, kills the guy immediately, and little did Denzel know there's a little bit more manpower than he's aware of, so now he's a double dog gunpoint right now, and our main antagonist is doing his little monologue here, so it's getting good. So the main antagonist just shot Denzel Washington's boss, the main big DEA agent guy. He gave him a little ultimatum. He told him, either I frame you for killing your boss or you get my fucking money back, because the money they stole is actually this main antagonist's money, the money they stole from the bank. So he says, either I frame you for killing your fucking boss or you get me my fucking money back and you walk away scot-free. So that's the situation Denzel's in right now. So they finally found out who each other are. They got into a pretty physical altercation where they were beating the absolute shit out of each other. It was enthralling to watch. I was having a great time watching it. It was going swimmingly. And now they've made up. So Mark Wahlberg just found out that Denzel's in the DEA, and Denzel just found out that Mark Wahlberg's ex-military. So they're becoming boys now. They just shook hands, and I think they're gonna find this money and take down the big antagonist together. All right, so we just found out that the money that Mark Wahlberg and Denzel stole from the bank was the CIA's money. The $42 million they stole was the CIA's own back pocket coin. So they're in some pretty deep shit right now. And while I have you here, I gotta say some shit. Mark Wahlberg is doing some pretty good acting in this movie. He's pretty funny, and I kind of like the way he's acting. Now, that pains me to say because I'm not a Mark Wahlberg fan, but old Marky Mark, he's giving a good account of himself here. So the cartel has found and kidnapped Denzel and Mark, and now they have them. They're probably going to torture them. I mean, what the cartel boss said, this is just word of mouth. I'm just repeating what he said. He said he was going to rip off Denzel's balls and shove them in Mark Wahlberg's mouth, and vice versa. Rip off Mark Wahlberg's balls and shove them right down Denzel's gullet. So that could happen in this movie, and I wouldn't be disappointed because it's been a slow burner. Maybe some ball munching would pick things up a little bit. Yo, I shit you not. Denzel's doing that thing where he turns his head away from the cops when the cops are coming at him so he doesn't get recognized by the cops again. Now, I told you earlier in the video, Denzel does that thing in every movie where the cops are coming and he turns his head away so the cops can't identify him. He did it again the second time in this movie. I tell you, every movie Denzel does this shit, and in this one he's done it twice. Wouldn't be surprised if he does it a good 5 more times before the end of this motion picture. Look at his head, turn it away from the cops, boom, cop car. I shit you not. I'm a fucking Denzel aficionado. All right, so it's kind of all gone to shit. It's a long story. There's a lot of plot lines going on, so I haven't explained everything. They kidnapped a cartel boss. The cartel boss told them to get the money or else he's going to kill Denzel's girlfriend. They didn't get the money. They broke into a military base to try to get the money. They didn't get it. The money was gone. Denzel's girlfriend got killed. And there's one thing I wanted to harp on again. It's Denzel's killing it with the acting yet again. Every time I watch a movie and Denzel's got to do a scene where either he's dying or he just found out that someone close to him's dying, it's just motion picture fucking magic. It's amazing. It's the top of the line acting, and that's why we love Denzel. So he's doing a great job here. He's like doing the weak in the knees acting where he sees the girl's dead body, he sees his lover's dead body, and he like is almost falling, stumbling to the ground just in disbelief. It's a pleasure to watch. All right, movie just wrapped up. Basically how it ended was, I mean, it was a lot to get into, but it was an old Mexican standoff between the military, Mark Wahlberg, the cartel, and the CIA. And it was all a big fight over this money. And it turns out they were all about to kill each other, but then Denzel pulled up, and he came with the money. And he said, all right, you can have your money, but we get to go free. That's the deal. The CIA guy said, you give me the money, you and Mark Wahlberg get to go free. So Denzel's like, hey, man, that's what you said. So he's like, okay, I can honor a deal. So Denzel and Mark Wahlberg are walking off. Problem solved. CIA gets their money. Everything's solved. Boom. Denzel pulls out a fucking remote explosive device. Boom. Blows up all the money. They kill absolutely everyone. Denzel and Mark Wahlberg kill everybody. Like 100 people. They take them on, kill them. And yeah, they walk away scot-free, and now they're rich now because Denzel pocketed $2 million of the $42 million. So now they're rich. They split the money, and that's the movie. It was, I don't know. I liked the ending more than the beginning, so I would give it a solid 6 out of 10 for what it was. You know, if Denzel wasn't in it, it would not be a 6 out of 10. And I actually kind of liked Mark Wahlberg's performance, so that boosts it up a little bit. But it's no fucking American Gangster, you know what I mean? It's no fucking Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's no Blue Velvet, you know what I'm saying? So 6 out of 10, solid. Yeah, that's the fucking movie review.